Welcome everyone, this is Unstoppable Stelezzi, and I will be going over a casted game on Definitive Edition this time. Now, you're used to me doing Wars of Liberty content, yes, but today we will be doing a match in Definitive Edition. D3, while a lot less civs and wool, does have some very interesting features and players in the competitive scene. Today, JK Shaman will be fighting against Swift Break in a 1 vs 1. As you will see, we will see the United States with Shaman facing off against Break with the Portuguese. Without further ado, let's get started. I'll be watching both players very closely. I will be removing the fog of war so we can see what both players are doing at all times. I will also be removing the view lock, just like I do on the Wars of Liberty streams. Now, this is a pretty interesting matchup, since, as you know from a lot of my Wars of Liberty games, Portuguese are quite the turtle civilization, and if you don't deal with them right away, they can get a very serious settler boom going. They're already going to start to build a house right now. Now, the opponent, the United States, has a lot of tricks up their sleeve. As you can see here, there are many ways to play the United States. There are Cowboy strategies, there are strategies around the Highlander, there are booming strategies with their mills that I've seen a while ago, so if you like variety, United States definitely offers that, as they get so many different card options based on their age-ups. Let's see what sort of deck the United States goes with. I'm going to be curious about this. So the deck United States will be doing is called Cowboy Reborn. This is going to be a very outlaw-based deck, it looks like. United States coming in with very interesting outlaw units. Now, you may be used to renegados or comancheros with the Europeans at their saloons, but United States, they get very special outlaws that have charged attacks that allow them to do even more damage. He will be starting with the coin trickle of capitalism. This will become very handy in being able to get his outlaws out quickly. You also see here he has a bank for even more coin trickling. He also has Advanced Saloon, which will allow the saloons to support some population. As you know, outlaws cost a lot of population compared to standard units, and he'll even be able to build a couple more of them, which will help with population and will even provide additional coin trickles, as saloons in Definitive Edition trickle a bit of coin as well. Let's check back in with the Portuguese and see what they're doing. Now, Portuguese, they are going to be going with the Mercenary Water deck. I've never quite heard of this concept before, but from the sounds of it and from the cards we see here, we should be expecting a fishing ship boom, with an emphasis on the whales in the top quarter of the map. I also see Royal Mint, as well as textile mill, so I think really what we're going to expect here is a lot of coin gathering into different mercenaries. It's going to be a coin versus coin strategy, it looks like, since, you know, both outlaws and mercenaries cost coin. Let's see how their age-up times do. It looks like Portuguese going up with the Quartermaster, pretty standard. 400 wood, who would turn that down? Now, what is he going with next? He started out with Furrier to get his hunting gathering rate ahead, since he's probably going to want to take some of his settlers onto mines early. He's also going to be getting Advanced Market, which will provide him a market wagon, and it'll improve the trade rates as well. If he doesn't have a certain amount of coin to make a mercenary unit, he'll be able to trade it off very quickly with the better rates. And also, having a free market is always good. Even though he already gets one for this map, he could use the wagon for some reconnaissance. As for our friends in the United States, they are going to be aging up with Pennsylvania. This is actually a very common age 2 that I use when I go for the Highlander Rush. In particular, it's very powerful since one of the technologies they get with the Civ is actually a coin trickle. Yes, and with that coin trickle, it'll make the acquisition of the Cowboy Outlaws even easier than normal.
Yeah.
He's already getting a bank down with his Dutch immigrant card. Nice. Pretty soon we'll see a meeting house coming out as well with this wagon. That way he'll be able to benefit from a bit of a coin trickle once he sends that technology out.
Yes.
What's this? Sending Arkansas posts. This provides him 3 trading post wagons. Now, if he can keep these trading posts safe and maybe get some stagecoach on these, this will be additional coin income that he can utilize. And he's even starting to get some of the cowboys out now. He's going to be able to apply some early pressure with these if he can kite with them effectively. Also going for placer mines, which will make the coin gather rate even better. As this seems like it's an all-in outlaw deck. So coin is really the essential resource. Portuguese, on the other hand, are going to be countering this with pikemen. Now, pikemen, while they do have a very strong anti-cavalry bonus against these cowboys, they are a bit slow. He's going to instead focus on taking out this trading post to set his opponent back a little bit. I'm curious to see whatever sorts of plans this Portuguese player has. I don't see any sort of dark yet, but he is going for a forward base, probably in anticipation of this cowboy strategy. Crossbowmen is certainly a good unit to go for, since they have a pretty solid range and a multiplier against light cavalry, which the cowboy would be classified as. From what we see here, he's going to want to keep these cowboys away from these pikemen best as he can, which, you know, he's not doing too good right now. He's letting him get snared a bit here by him. Oh, he just lost. I think he could have avoided losing all of those if he just played it a bit more carefully. See what his opponent is doing to throw him off a bit balanced is attacking him in 2 places at once. With the pikeman down here, and he had the crossbowman playing with him up here. It's kind of convenient as the United States to be able to send out Minutemen at certain points to help support your main army. We'll have to probably wait a little bit before we can get some more of these to deal with any potential infantry. Now this is interesting. I see hussars. The thing that worries me a bit about this is the fact that cowboys are more of a light cavalry unit and tend to do really good against hand cavalry, such as the hussar. He's probably looking to do a bit of raiding work if he can get in and out very quickly. Which he has to be very careful. As you can see here, the cowboys are coming to protect the base. Yep, he better get out of there, or else he's gonna die to these. Deciding to do some damage while he's here, only taking down 1 settler. Not a really good investment, as you really spent about 360 food and a little bit less of coin just to kill 1 settler. If you're going to go for a raid, you want to make sure that you can do a lot of damage, typically. Especially like a civ such as the Portuguese, who can simply boom up really quickly anyways out of their many town centers that they get pretty easily through their town center covered wagons with each age up. These cowboys are going to be able to do a bit of raiding on their own, though, with little resistance right now. All I see coming out on the Portuguese side at the moment is musketeers and the queued hussar. Oh, here's some crossbowmen, though, to come to save the day. You better get those cowboys away from those crossbowmen, since they will do quite a bit of damage to them. Trying to see if he can find anyone around the town centers, but quickly realizes he's garrisoned already. Let's go back to our friend the United States here to see what he's doing. He is queuing up 3 cowboys from 3 saloons. That's a good advantage of having that advanced saloon card. If he has a lot of coin, as you see here, with all the little trickles that he's accumulated over time, he can queue out 3 different places effectively, keeping his numbers up as best as possible. And with the advanced saloon card, he can also get quite a lot of population too without having to build so many houses. Though he is going to want to make sure that he protects his houses as best as he can, because if you don't have a lot of houses with an outlaw strategy, you will have trouble keeping up with the numbers you need to have supremacy. Minutemen coming in to help a bit. It's going to want to retreat now, I think, because you are in the enemy's base and you are going to get sandwiched in with the returning cowboys. Though it is arguable at this point you kind of are done for in terms of saving that army. Those cowboys do quite a bit of damage, especially with their charge attacks. State militia. Yeah, this is going to provide even a bit more firepower and deal with any sort of musketeers the Portuguese continue to make. He's going to want to switch up his strategy, I think, if he wants to survive this. He's going to want to emphasize a lot more on, I say, crossbowmen. Musketeers are not going to do a lot for you. They're better suited against hand cavalry in general, or other forms of infantry in numbers, but not really the light cavalry like this. How is the resource count of the Portuguese doing? It looks like they are not quite ahead in their economy yet. See, Portuguese start off a bit slow typically, and as the match goes on into the fortress age, they tend to start to really boom up a lot and get a lot of surplus resources. At this point, he's in the beginning phases, and I think he's just trying to deal with the large cowboy threat that's coming to him. He is investing heavily in coin technologies and mining cards as well. Probably looking to get his own mercenary units out as soon as possible. Whether he can do that or not, who knows at this point. Seems to be struggling quite a bit against his cowboy and state militia combination. In fact, he just lost the barracks just as we speak. That's going to set him back a bit, since that's one less area he's going to be able to produce his crossbowmen from to defend against these light cavalry. All he can really do is queue up hussars for just general defense, even though that's not the ideal unit that he wants. Let's check on the water. So, the thing I find kind of interesting here is this Portuguese player was clearly decking to go for heavy fishing ship booming, yet I haven't even saw a dock from him yet, which is kind of interesting, you know. I would have expected him to stay back a lot and maybe defend a bit, get those fishing ships out and get as much of these whales as possible, and then go for a bit of a semi-FF to get those mercenaries that your deck is so famous for. But it looks like here now he's starting to fall behind a little bit. Probably thinking of how he's going to deal with this outlaw problem. He's not in terrible shape though, as he can use these crossbowmen for now to fend them off a bit. Virginia General Assembly. This will allow him to get a nice free technology once he's built that state capital.
I'm ready.
And he's also seems to be going up to Fortress Age with Tennessee. He's also getting refreshing drinks, which will make the charged attacks of these cowboys recharge even quicker. As you know, when I play the cowboys into the Age of the World mod, they also get that technology.
I'm ready.
And for them, I combine it with their units to do a lot of damage than I could before the technology becomes available.
Yes.
Got a couple of sharpshooters with the Tennessee Age up, which will certainly help against these infantry. Cowboys opting to deal with the Hussar threat first, since that's what they're best suited for, leaving the sharpshooters to deal with the crossbowmen. Portuguese really need to step up their game now, as they're already an age behind, dealing with an opponent who arguably has a lot more resources than... Well, I shouldn't say that. It seems like they're pretty even in resources. But we do see owl shoots coming out from the United States, though. This will pose a serious threat against his current army, since these owl shoots have a very devastating attack, including their deadly buckshot attack, which has a bit of splash to it. And let's see what he can do here, though. Because right now he has about just 4 owl shoots. I can imagine he's probably going to queue up more when he gets some more population from the houses. And we also see a town center going up, which is going to be great for map control and securing this silver mine here to keep his outlaw queues going. I think Portuguese really need to age up now. Maybe get some Caçadores, get some organ guns. They really need to keep up with the further upgrading army of his opponent. We also see the acquisition of Cree natives, which will lead to Cree couriers coming out, which will really aid in his natural resource acquisition, since, as you know, similar to the French civilization, those villagers gather a lot quicker than the standard one does. Let's see what Portuguese got up their sleeves. Portuguese finally reaching the fortress age. It's going to be starting out with some cords of wood, likely to get some basic defenses going. He seems to have lost his forward base, so he really needs that wood to start building a bit of a defense at home. I think he's probably going to get a barracks, I can imagine. He's probably even going to get an artillery foundry, because he really needs to come up with a combination that's going to do with both cowboys and owl shoots. I can imagine a skirmish or artillery combination might be able to deal with that, and might force him onto hussars, which will take him off his game a bit. But we'll see. Like I predicted, I do see the Caçadores coming out. Caçadores, unlike normal skirmishers, have a pretty low HP, but they make up for that with a lot of armor. 45% armor to start with. Pretty big value. And it should make them pretty impervious to the generic ranged attacks of both the cowboys and the owl shoots. And as long as he can keep their numbers up, you should be able to slowly whittle down his cowboy numbers with those nice skirmisher multipliers. He is getting logging fume now as well, to help keep his infrastructure up. And maybe with that added wood chopping bonus, maybe he can finally start to go for those fishing ships that we've been waiting for a while now. Whereas United States, going for Russian-American Company. This is a great card that I send a lot. This will ship him some block houses and also improve his hunting gathering rate, which he's also improved with steel traps recently, and is starting to get a bit of wood chopping as well. So he's really starting to cut back a little bit and start focusing on the eco before he dedicates to a hard push, it looks like. He has most of the map under his guys right now, except for this quadrant right here. And once he gets the resources he really needs, I think he can really start to push in and cause some real havoc for his opponent. Really, he just needs 20 more population to go up, and which will be coming soon with these houses, and then he can go full pop in on his enemy. It's kind of interesting because we see here, United States already having 3 TCs. They're practically booming themselves up at the rate as the Portuguese at this point. Even though they had to pay their way to get those town centers, they didn't come for free. And in fact, we also see United States going for a dock, which is quite funny because he didn't even go for a water deck, his opponent did, and we never even saw one dock from his opponent. Makes you wonder a little bit what's going on, right? You build a deck for one thing and you never end up doing that thing. It always is a little bit painful to see because, you know, it really sets you back when you use certain types of decks for a very specific purpose and you never end up getting to use it to its full potential. If you can pivot a little bit, that's great, but it certainly makes more work for you in the end. Portuguese are going to be going for that Sinister Dragoon Caçador combination. I can imagine he's going for Dragoons to deal with any potential artillery like the Gatling guns, which really are a serious threat to these Caçadors. We do see some Gatling guns here, and he's also going to be using the culverins as well to deal with the Gatling guns. Let's see if he can target those Gatling guns properly, though. I think he's just trying to stay back and get the Cowboys out first, and then he's going to target down his coves. Got one of the coves, he has one to go over here, and that's down. Good. Now the threat to his infantry is gone, and he can start to press forward a bit with these skirms. His United States settlers moving off that hunt since they're under serious threat of being destroyed by these skirmishers. Cowboys also forced to retreat. Will we see this blockhouse going down? Probably. Doesn't have a lot to defend it right now. I wonder what United States will do as a retaliation. Looks like he's going up for an industrial age. Yeah. Now that he's going in... Which one is he? He's going for California. Interesting choice. I'm just watching the Portuguese army here to see if there's going to be another fight going on soon. Yeah, looks like United States are doing the thing that the Portuguese should have been doing all along, which is doing a bit of a fish boom on the water. Which with such little food makes a lot of sense since he has some wood to spare but no food for settlers anymore. And who knows when he's going to get a bit of map control on these hunts again. With the Californians, he has the potential for the Bear Flag Revolt, which would give him some nice grizzly bears. What else has he got? He's got the California Gold Rush. This is really good because with this outlaw strategy, he really needs a lot of gold to keep himself fueled. And he seems to be losing a lot of that map control now that he was depending on for a while. If he can put a gold prospector to his base and get himself a gold mine to keep himself alive for now and deal with this army, that would be the best thing for him. But I don't know. It seems like he's a little bit meager on resources right now and needs some help. He's gonna hopefully send some Magyar Hussars through the Kovat's Legion. These will definitely be helpful against the Caçadors. They will also be helpful against the Culverins should he be able to target them. He really needs to deal with this army in his base as they slowly start to go for his saloons.
Thank you for paying my ransom.
Yeah, I go for the Culverins first because they're the most pricey unit, and without those, he's really going to be hurting, losing that very expensive investment. Now just cut your way through the Dragoons if you can and go for those Caçadors. Just has a couple Dragoons left. Has some guard Minutemen to help a little bit with the Caçadors on that side and sandwich them in. We'll see if these Magyar Hussars have the HP needed to finish them off. Yeah, it's kind of neat because these Hussars can freely cut their way through the Caçadors since they have to stay constantly focused on the Cowboys. Since that's their main counter. Since skirmishes, as you know, countered the light cavalry very well. Looks like
Yes?
these Portuguese here are gonna be starting their fishing boom like right now. I'm still a little shocked that this Portuguese player with the very fishing boomy sword deck didn't get any fishing ships yet. Now, from what we see here, they have about 3 docks working at once, and he's going to start to get his second fishing upgrade soon. In the home city, we see California Gold Rush finally coming out, and this will be really nice for him since this will give him an extra gold mine to get that supply of gold he really needs right now for his outlaws. Yeah, this is not good for Portuguese. They're completely left out bare here with their hunt exposed. How is the Portuguese doing in resources? Not the best, but they can still afford a bit of army. He's just queuing some Castadors right now, since all we can really think about right now is the Cowboy threat, but he needs something to deal with these Magyar Hussars left. He has about 10 veteran Hussars. Now, it's a little bit good, but he does need to be aware that the Cowboys can do a lot of damage to those. He needs to be aware that if these Cowboys get their charged attack again, they're going to be doing some serious damage to these hand cavalry units. He does also have to be aware that he's losing the water as well, so he's going to run out of that option. Sending in cavalry cuirass now to get his HP a bit up on these hussars. Not sure if that's really what he needs right now. I would have went for the ranged cavalry cackerel for the dragoons instead, to give him a bit of range needed to deal with the Magyar Hussar problem. Let's see what... Yeah, this could be pretty bad. I'm going to look at the Fog of War really quickly. See, he resigned. Seeing this army flanking up on his house right here. He is really far from his base at this point, and even if he retreated straight back this way, you can see the United States would just be able to come right up here where if we get the fog, right where his plantations are, basically. He doesn't have any sort of outposts here, so garrisoning around him would be kind of hard, and he wouldn't be able to delay any settler losses. That combined with having no fishing ships and very little map control at this point, and even though he's not aware of this, his opponent also had a lot of resources as well. In that case, this means that I think in general it's good to say the United States sort of outplayed their opponent, both in terms of strategy, sticking with the plan, utilizing their deck to its fullest potential, getting as much coin, trickles, and gathering boosts as he could to facilitate his outlaws, and always staying one step ahead in combat, with a few hiccups here and there against the culverins and dragoons. But other than that, the United States did really good at keeping with their strategy and making it work well for them. I think as the Portuguese, you need to make sure if you're going for a water boomy deck, you start water booming really quickly. One thing you didn't see him go for was the schooners, right? As you've seen on my channel before when I'm covering a lot of Portuguese matches, one of the first cards they go for is the schooners. Makes the fishing ships cheaper, and with that wood resource gather, they are basically capable of getting the fishing ships out quicker, combined with the double town center. And because he wasn't able to get that fishing ship boom that he wanted to with the deck, he was not able to shift any of his gathering over to the mines he would need to create mercenaries. Because when you look at the sort of a deck, he does have some crate coverage in Age 2, and he even has the wood crates in Age 3, but he does not have any sort of unit shipments to support his army. No Castadors, no Dragoons, no Hussars, and no organ guns. So he was really depending on getting that specific macro that he needs to facilitate the mercenary production. I think next time Portuguese go with this Civ again, they will need to make sure that they get the fishing ship boom out early and they can macro their way properly into the mercenaries. Since it seems here, when you're dealing with the Civ like the United States that clearly knows how to use these charged attacks of the outlaws, you'll find yourself getting outstabbed very quickly. Good match from both of them. It was certainly a GG for both, as they put up a pretty good fight.
Hello.
Really good congrats to the United States for especially doing the thing that their opponent was supposed to do. That was kind of funny at the end. Alright, well that was an interesting match. I hope to do many more for you in the future. And, oh yeah, I just looked at cool little factory wagon there. Yeah, you can definitely tell the US was ahead. Hope to see you next time and cover some more Definitive Edition games with you, as well as some Wars of Liberty ones. Okay, signing off now. See you next time.